"45 years in any terms is a long time for an organisation, let alone a club, and to last this long is a true reflection of the club and the health of the Australian club scene. The Gypsy Jokers have now joined the Immortals, posting their own place in history with 45 years as a club. For years I have ridden past with the Horsley Drive at Wetherill Park in Sydney's West, and pondered what exactly that property was, set back from the road with its high walls and Jokers Lane sign. Well, that was around 30 years ago, and I was soon to learn that was the Gypsy Jokers clubhouse, but I was also to find out I wasn't alone with my curiosity, and I found myself explaining that it was a clubhouse, and it was only a few years ago that I got to visit the clubhouse and find out traditional club games and beliefs are still strong and alive. When I was asked to cover the Jokers' 45th anniversary, I was rapt, because I knew very little of the club, but had heard only good things. And though I have had a few years in the clubhouse up until now, I have actually met many of the members, let alone the founding members, and club's stalwart, O'Day. O'Day hung around with the club and club founders Ugly Phil, Tommy Browning Brown back in the 1970s, and ended up patching up in 71. Ugly Phil and Browning started the club in November 69. The boys had just returned home from a tour of duty in Vietnam and were riding with the St. Mary's Motorcycle Club, and didn't like the scene, and so decided to start their own club, but didn't actually have a name for the club at the time. And as luck would have it, a book was released at the time with the names of American motorcycle clubs, and they picked several names only to find some were already taken. Names such as Hell's Angels and the Galloping Gooses, which was probably a good thing. It was whilst reading up on names, they learned that the second largest club in the USA at the time was the Gypsy Jokers, and the boys decided to take on the name. The Sydney chapter was always located in Fairfield, Parramatta, Wetherill Park areas, and then over time expanded to Newcastle. From there, the Mount Gambier chapter was created, and unbeknown to them, they were told the Gypsy Jokers in Perth. The club's correspondent and the Perth chapter made the epic trek across the country to Sydney, and both clubs affiliated became one. It wasn't long after the Kalgoorlie and Brisbane chapters were created, they took the time out and away from proceedings to tell us about the history of the club, and it was immediately evident the love he held for his club. And in the way the non-drinking and articulated gentleman is far from the stereotype portrayed by the media or authorities, and has a heartfelt love in his voice when he speaks of the club. We have been in Wetherill Park for 15 years now. The site was originally an old chook shed, and the members just built it up the best way they could, and it has just grown from there and gone from strength to strength. And now there are 60 members, which is not a big club, but we like to be a close-knit club. The bigger clubs don't seem to have the close-knit thing, and over the years we have progressed. Years ago our colours were red, black and gold, and then we had a couple of members go over to the United States to meet up with the US Gypsy Jokers, who had been going since 1956. And it wasn't until 10 years after they returned we decided to change our colours to black and white, We kept our centre emblem but changed our writing to the US style writing font. We are affiliated with America, Germany and Norway. There are 7 chapters here in Australia and we don't have to see any more because you lose that contact with things here. So we are quite happy with the way it is. The club walls are adorned with pictures from days gone by, remind us of the heritage and Aussie tradition. Our club has tried to keep to tradition and only the old style profile, but there has been small changes probably due to the times and the government is acting. We tried to keep it much the same as it was back then, but you have to change a few things at certain times. With the club being so old, there are bound to be some fathers with sons carrying on the tradition. At this stage, we have had a few farmer sons Australia-wide. Unfortunately for one, he lost his son in a car crash here in Sydney. We have 2 fathers, 2 sons. And Australia-wide, we are about 5. And it's getting more family orientated, kids growing up, which is quite good.